January 20th, 2008. In the quiet city of Reno, Nevada, 19-year-old Brianna Dennison spends the evening reconnecting with friends during her winter break from college. The night unfolds with laughter and shared memories, embodying the carefree spirit of youth. Yet, within hours, this ordinary gathering spirals into a harrowing mystery that will grip the nation. As the night deepens, Brianna chooses to stay at a friend's house near the University of Nevada campus. She settles in on the living room couch, unaware that this decision will mark the beginning of a terrifying ordeal. How did a routine evening among friends lead to one of Reno's most haunting crimes? Before we get into it, tell me where you're watching from, and if you believe in coincidences? If you're into true crime stories like this, hit the like button and subscribe to stay updated on new uploads. Let's get into the case of Brianna Dennison. Born on March 29, 1988, in Reno, Nevada. Brianna Dennison came into the world surrounded by love. Raised in a close-knit family, she was the kind of person who lit up a room without even trying. Her laughter was easy. Her kindness, effortless. Those who knew her described her as vibrant, thoughtful, and full of life. She had a genuine compassion for others, something that showed in the way she treated people. Brianna didn't just listen, she heard you. And that made all the difference. After graduating from Reno High School in June of 2006, she moved to California to attend Santa Barbara City College. Her goal? To study psychology, and eventually help those struggling with trauma and mental health. Even at 19, she had a sense of purpose, a drive to make the world a little better. Back home in Reno, she stayed close with her childhood friends. Whether it was catching up over coffee or planning quick weekend visits, Brianna was the glue in many friendships. The one who remembered birthdays, checked in after hard days, and always showed up. To everyone around her, Brianna wasn't just a friend or a student. She was a light. And no one could have imagined that such a bright light could ever be extinguished. January 2008. Brianna Dennison had returned home to Reno for winter break. After a semester of studying psychology at Santa Barbara City College, she was looking forward to catching up with family, and reconnecting with old friends. It was Martin Luther King Jr. weekend, and the city was buzzing with events. Brianna attended festivities tied to the summer-winter action tours, gatherings full of music, celebration, and that infectious energy only winter weekends can bring. On the night of January 19th, she joined a group of friends at the Sands Regency Hotel in downtown Reno. There was laughter, drinks, dancing. Nothing out of the ordinary. Just another night shared between friends. After the party, instead of heading home, Brianna made a simple decision. She opted to spend the night at a friend's house near the University of Nevada campus. It was close, convenient, safe. Around 4 a.m., Brianna was last seen asleep on the living room couch, covered with a blue blanket. The home was quiet. Everyone else had gone to bed. No one heard anything. No one saw anything. But by 9 a.m., she was gone. Her purse, her cell phone, still there. But Brianna wasn't. And on the pillow where her head had rested, a small bloodstain. That single detail, the stain, was enough for her friend to realize something was terribly wrong. The call to police was made. And just like that, the search began. January 21, 2008. Just one day after Brianna Dennison was reported missing, the Reno Police Department launched an official search. What began as a missing persons report quickly escalated into a full-scale investigation. The details at the scene were too alarming to ignore. By the second day, the FBI had joined the case, an unmistakable sign of how serious this was becoming. Authorities weren't just dealing with a disappearance, they feared they were racing against time. Forensic teams combed through the home where Brianna had last been seen. On the couch where she slept, they made a chilling discovery: male DNA. It didn't match anyone in the house. And more than that, it wasn't new. The DNA was a match to a string of unsolved sexual assaults that had occurred near the University of Nevada campus in late 2007. Same pattern. Same area. Same predator. Word of Brianna's disappearance spread quickly, and the response from the community was overwhelming. More than 1,700 volunteers came together, neighbors, students, total strangers, working across a 100 square mile search grid. They handed out flyers, checked dumpsters, searched fields, and followed any lead they could. Even Nevada's First Lady, Dawn Gibbons, stepped into the field to help. This wasn't just about finding one girl anymore, it was about protecting an entire city from a threat that had clearly been hiding in plain sight. February 15, 2008. Nearly a month had passed since Brianna Dennison vanished without a trace. Then, in a quiet field near a Reno business park, something caught the eye of Albert Jimenez, a piece of bright orange fabric, almost glowing against the dry winter grass. As he moved closer, he realized what it was. A body. Lying in the open, exposed to the elements. She was wearing only orange socks. The search was over, and the worst had been confirmed. It was Brianna. An autopsy would later reveal the unthinkable: Brianna had been sexually assaulted and strangled. The news devastated a city already on edge. The Dennison family, shattered by grief, found the strength to speak out. Through tears, they asked the public to help find the person responsible. They wanted justice. Not only for Brianna, but to protect others from meeting the same fate. A life so full of promise, taken in silence. The moment the city had feared had arrived. And now, the investigation would turn to finding a killer. As investigators dug deeper into the evidence, a disturbing pattern began to emerge. The male DNA found on the couch where Brianna Dennison had slept was no random trace. It matched samples from at least 2 previous sexual assaults, attacks that had occurred in the same area near the University of Nevada campus, just months earlier. Police now knew they weren't looking for a first-time offender. They were hunting a serial predator. Someone who had stalked, attacked, and vanished, undetected. With no name, but a consistent profile, authorities released a composite sketch. It was built from the accounts of survivors, women who had come face to face with the attacker and lived to talk about it. The hope was simple: someone, somewhere, would recognize the face. And finally, someone did. In November 2008, nearly 10 months after Brianna's disappearance, a tip came in. It wasn't from a stranger. It was from the girlfriend of a man named James Bila. She told police something she couldn't ignore, that she had discovered women's underwear inside Bila's vehicle, items that didn't belong to her, or to anyone she knew. She told police she suspected her boyfriend might be involved. To clear his name, she allowed them to collect DNA from their young son. That single act changed everything. The child's DNA was a partial match to the unknown suspect. And that led investigators straight to his father, 27-year-old James Michael Bila. Bila was a former Marine. Working as a pipe fitter. Living just miles from the University of Nevada, Reno, with the same girlfriend who gave police their biggest lead. He wasn't new to trouble. Back in 2001, Bila had been arrested after a knife fight. And there were rumors, whispers of aggression, control, and stalking behavior. He also owned a silver pickup truck. The same kind seen circling the area the morning Brianna disappeared. He had slipped past the system for months. But he hadn't stopped. And now, the truth about what he'd done, and who else he may have hurt, was finally starting to come into focus. It was enough to raise alarm bells. Investigators had a name, and soon, they'd have a suspect. November 25, 2008. After months of investigation, police made their move. James Bila, a 27-year-old pipe fitter and former Marine, was arrested in Reno. The DNA evidence was conclusive. He was charged with the kidnapping, sexual assault, and murder of Brianna Dennison, as well as the prior assaults that had terrorized the university area just months before. The arrest sent shockwaves through the community. The man behind the crimes wasn't a shadowy figure from out of town, he was local, living quietly in plain sight. In May of 2010, James Biela's trial began. The courtroom was tense. Prosecutors laid out their case, piece by piece, most damning of all, the DNA evidence that tied him directly to Brianna and the earlier assaults. It wasn't circumstantial. It was forensic. Defense attorneys tried to offer a different picture. They pointed to Biela's past, his service in the military, his difficult upbringing. But the facts told a different story. On May 27, 2010, the jury returned their verdict, guilty on all counts. James Biela was sentenced to death. In addition to that, he received multiple life sentences without the possibility of parole. The courtroom sat in silence as justice, long delayed, was finally served. Following his conviction, James Biela attempted to appeal his sentence. But each time, the courts upheld the original ruling. His death sentence, along with multiple life terms, remained firmly in place. The legal chapter had closed, but for Brianna's family and the Reno community, the aftermath was just beginning. Out of unimaginable grief, the Dennison family found purpose. They created the Bring Bree Justice Foundation, a nonprofit committed to advocating for victims' rights and pushing for stronger safety measures on college campuses. Their mission: to make sure no family would have to endure the pain they had lived through. Though the man responsible was caught and convicted, the loss still echoes. Brianna Dennison was more than a name in a case file. She was a daughter, a friend, and a young woman with a bright future. And now, her memory fuels a movement to protect others. Do you think justice was truly served in Brianna Dennison's case? Was it enough, or was it too late? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss what's next. Stay safe, stay aware, and keep seeking the truth.